do it. There.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Today, I'm Cortney Jones, and I'll tell you a little bit more about myself here in just a few minutes. But today we're going to talk about earning referral commissions by building a referral network across the US. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. So we're going to talk about each of them and then kind of go through the semantics of how each of them works ever so slightly differently. So do not worry. There we go. So a little bit about just some quick big picture stats, if you will, about relocation. NAR reports that 8.93 million people have relocated to a new state just since COVID started. So just in the last few years, almost 9 million people have moved from one state to another state. 97% of those people have used a realtor for that transaction when they purchased a house. And in 2021 alone, 78,000 people moved into Arizona, which is a different part of what we're going to talk about, referral bonuses and stuff. But I want you to just be aware of those numbers. So it's a huge part of the business, which is its own entire niche. I mean, really, as a whole, relocation is its entire niche. There are entire companies whose job it is, and they make their entire living referring people that are moving. So there's, in case you're unaware, there are companies like, especially your bigger companies like your Intels and, you know, GoDaddies and places like that. When they move people from state to state, what they will do is they will have them work with a relocation company. That entire relocation company's job is to refer agents and get a referral fee. That's how they make all of their money. They'll also refer moving companies and get a referral fee, and refer utility services and things like that and get referral fees. Every little bit helps. So if they can collect a percentage here and there, they try to control that whole thing through moving their employee from one state to another state. It's a very common aspect of the business. We see a lot less of it. I feel like, at least in my head, it feels like there's a lot less of it today. I don't know if it's just because companies aren't moving people as much anymore, but I feel like we used to do a lot more of this in the business, but it's still very viable, and it's an entire niche of its own, because it's knowing another market and knowing details of that market and being able to help people come in brand new is like a whole different knowledge level that takes a special person to want to learn all of that. If you're moving here from a different state, you need to know things about Arizona that people that already live here and are just buying a house don't need to know. They're already familiar with it. It's the things we take for granted because we know it, because it's just kind of our natural day. So it's a whole nother niche within the business. You're in the right place. If you have friends or family out of state, okay, I'm going to show you how you can earn referrals off of their business, even if they're in another state and you're not licensed in that state. If you run across people who are moving to or from Arizona, and who doesn't these days, if you know people in other states who are moving or want to move, and if you want to increase your income and not necessarily your showing time and mileage, it's a really nice way to make a nice little additional income. Actually, I don't know if he's on the call yet, but Jay, one of my coaching clients, just found out today that a referral he recommended is getting ready to close. So these are people in California. So he's getting ready to get a referral from that, and he didn't have to do anything other than a few phone calls. So
yep, I'm here.
Yep. Oh, good. Thanks, Jay. So basically what it is it's a way to put all that hard work and studying that you've been doing. You know, you did all of this time and effort and energy to get your license in the first place. And obviously we have the day-to-day aspect of being a realtor, which takes a ton of our time. Using referrals is another way to increase your commissions and get more commissions without spending extra time and energy. You got to make a few phone calls. You do need to do a few things. Depending on the relationship you have with the person, the amount of due diligence you do will be, from small to a little bit larger, depending on the situation. But the referral fees are quite lovely, actually. Referral fees are 20 to 30% on average, and happening all over the US every single day. That doesn't mean that some people wouldn't do it for a lot less and other people would ask for more. in general, what I've seen in the 2 or 3 relocations I've seen in the last couple months, they've been at relocation companies are pretty consistently asking for 30%. And then when there's like a referral, let's say I was referring somebody to Susanna and she's in a different state, those I've seen all the way from 10% to 25 to 30%. So obviously, like with all commissions, they're totally negotiable. There's no set fee. But that's just to kind of give you an idea and a range of what you can expect. Okay. These are happening everywhere, all around us, just for recommending somebody to another agent. Okay. So yes, a lot of people brand new, especially in the business, do not know this, but you can refer a person to another agent in another state and get paid a referral fee for that. Just this morning, I work with pretty much only investors, and I do a lot of coaching of investors across the country. And just this morning, I have a coaching client of mine who's in this weird part of Michigan, which really should be part of Wisconsin, but that's a whole nother conversation. But she's trying to find a realtor who understands owner financing. And so I made about 10 phone calls just this morning trying to find a realtor that can help her, because we're going to owner finance her house, but we need a realtor who understands that and can work in that area. So it's something that you can get involved in and start making money on right away, without really a whole lot of experience in the business, which is nice for newer agents as well. And then those that don't have a sphere of influence locally, because you just moved here or whatever. Okay. So there's many ways to build a referral business. So like I said, there's like all these different aspects of it. You can refer people that are moving out of Arizona, okay, to another state. So if you happen to be working with someone, or you happen to hear about somebody moving, one time I was at Buffalo Wild Wings having lunch, and the people next to me were talking about they were there searching for a house. And they were out of state. So you'll hear things like that, right? When you're just out and about in the community, you can hear people that are moving. So you can help somebody that's moving out of the state of Arizona to another state by helping them find a good realtor. We all know that there's good realtors and there's bad realtors, right? And so if you can do some of the due diligence for them, that is extremely helpful for them. You can refer your family and friends and sphere of influence who are buying and selling in another state. So let's say you relocated here from Colorado because you came here and you went to school at ASU and you just stayed, but all your family and friends are in Colorado. Then, and you hear about somebody in Colorado that's moving or needs a house or any of that, or getting ready to sell or whatever, you can refer them to an agent in their area and get a referral fee. And then once you start developing these relationships and you start building, or even just intentionally start reaching out to realtors to build that network of people, then you will also be able to get referrals from people that are moving from other realtors in other states when they know of people that are moving to Arizona. And in that case, you would likely be paying the referral commission, but you would happily do so for a new client, right? So there's a lot of different aspects to the referral business. It sort of just depends on which end you're in on it and what's happening in that person's life, right? So if Uncle Joe, you're in Arizona and Uncle Joe is heading east and he's going to be moving across country, you can find a realtor for him in that state and get paid the referral fee for recommending Uncle Joe to that realtor. And it's a pretty easy process. In most of the areas where your friends and family are, you can get paid for helping them find a good agent in their state. So making a few phone calls, doing some due diligence, vetting those people, having those conversations to kind of get to the bottom of would they be a good mix is really what it's all about. Okay. In my world, I kind of feel like it's my duty. Like, I feel like this is my area of expertise. Real estate is what I know. Real estate is what I breathe and sleep. So I feel like if I know of a family member or a friend or a client or somebody, a former client or whatever, that's involved in a real estate transaction, it's my duty to find them somebody that's going to work on their behalf and do it well, because I know that there's bad agents and there's people who aren't going to be as attentive, or maybe not going to protect dot all their I's and cross all their T's and all that kind of stuff. So I want to have some conversations to kind of do that due diligence with people beforehand. I want to pre-qualify that agent to make sure they're the right fit for my family member or my friend or whatever, to make sure they have the right personality, and that they know enough of the business to be able to protect them. Do they have the experience and the knowledge and the know-how, especially if it's a specialized thing, like I was mentioning earlier. In this case, I need somebody who understands owner financing. I need to know that they've done those types of transactions before. If you have somebody that's moving to a different state and they have small children, you want to know you have somebody who understands the school systems and what the school systems look like in that area. And they know that, and they have a good skill set in that area. Do they have the right personality? Are they going to give them the right attention? Do you have to call them 8 times to get them? You call them 8 times to tell them you have a referral, and they aren't good at calling back. Well, next, I don't want, if they're treating me like that, when I say I have a referral for you, how are they going to treat your friends and family when they need an agent to call them back with some details on a house? So I do a lot of that kind of stuff up front, just to make sure that they're going to get good service. Obviously, it's never a guarantee, but it's at least something that I can do. I feel like it's sort of my duty. And then, do they work in this specific area? I'm somebody who I don't feel like I can give somebody as good a service if I don't work in that area. If somebody called me today and asked me to sell them a house in Yuma, can I do that? Sure. But I might not know all the little idiosyncrasies of Yuma, because I only drive through there when I'm on my way to San Diego. So they would be much better served by an agent who works in that particular area. So when I'm talking to people and finding agents to refer business to, I'm looking for agents that work in that specific area and know it well. So they know if there's, a water issue that we need to think about or know about. If that neighborhood was built on an old trash dump, and, there's some things that happen with the ground every now and then, and there's been some sinkhole issues in the past, or, all those types of things are very area specific. And if I'm referring them to someone, I want to make sure that agent knows that area and is going to know those things off the top of their head. So how do you get started doing this? Well, first of all, you want to let your sphere of influence know that you can help. Okay. I think it just starts with listening to what people need and having those conversations. When you're at a family event or a friend event, or you're hanging out with people, you're going to hear those types of things. You're going to hear when people have situations, when people are moving. Oh, did you hear Uncle Bob's thinking about selling his house? You're going to hear those types of things and know that those things are going on. So listening and then letting them know that you're going to be able to help them is really kind of how it starts when it's your sphere of influence. Let them know that you can help them find a great agent in their area. A lot of times I already know someone because I've been obviously doing the networking for a long time. In the beginning, of course, you won't necessarily know someone, but it does a lot of times help me to say, I think I know a really good agent in your area. Have you found an agent yet? And oftentimes, as you guys have all probably experienced, they'll say, oh, I have a good agent, a friend from church. And that's when I'll take the time to kind of educate them that, okay, that might be a really nice person, but is that really a good agent? So, let me help you through that, because it's super important. This is a huge financial transaction you're getting ready to do. And although I love the loyalty that you have to a church member, I do think it's important that you have somebody that also has the right skill set to protect you and your assets. So would you like me to help you make sure that that person's qualified to handle that transaction? That's sort of how I handle that. Okay. Explain that you'll talk to the person and vet them a little bit for their knowledge, ethics, and friendliness, and make sure they're a good fit and all that kind of stuff. And then definitely for your sphere of influence, obviously, I know all your coaches have told you, you should be reaching out to your sphere on a regular basis through newsletters, emails, social media posts, and all those types of things. So include that communication in there. We have to educate people. They don't just know automatically that we can help them find a realtor in Ohio if they're in Ohio, so it's an important thing to kind of just make a mention of every now and then in your newsletters and in your email communications and things like that, to let them know. If you're on the phone with your mom in Ohio and your mom says, oh, did you know that Uncle Bob's getting ready to sell his house? We're thinking about it. Then you want to just say, Mom, make sure Bob knows I can help him find a good agent. Or if you have a good relationship with Bob, call him yourself. Hey, Uncle Bob, I heard you may be thinking about selling the house. I can help you find the right agent to make sure that that gets done and that you're protected and taken care of. So it's a matter of just sort of educating people and letting them know that it's even something that you can help with. lot of times they know we have that expertise, but they don't know that we can help outside of their state. So how do you find those agents? Well, I feel like every agent should commit to making a certain number of contacts every day. I think 5 is a great place to start, with just reaching out to different agents in different states. I feel like it's a great place to start, whether you have people in that state or not, just to start building a network of other states. I think it's really great to stay on top of the market just in general. Real estate market is very specific and very, what happens in Phoenix isn't necessarily happening in Tampa, but overall there is this macroeconomic part where real estate kind of shifts and ebbs and flows as a whole microeconomic business. So for me, I like to stay abreast of everything that's happening even nationally, just to kind of hear different things. And part of the best way to do that is with the people who have their thumb on the pulse of the business on a regular basis, which is agents. So when I first started in the business, besides doing 2 hours of cold call prospecting out of a phone book every single day, I would call agents in different states across the country. We didn't even have the internet then, so we had to do all kinds of weird things to try to find the people. Now you just go on Google and you pick an area, Boise real estate agents, and boom, you got 5 people to call. But I think it's a really good idea to start to reach out to people all over. If you do have friends and family in another state or two, it's a great place to obviously start there. Start to build that network, start to build the rapport with those people, so that when one of your sphere of influence does have a need, you already have somebody in mind that you know can help them, okay? A really easy way to do it is on realtor.com, and I'll actually show you where to go for that in just a moment. Connect with 3 to 5 agents per area on social media. So once you've called those agents and you go and connect with them on social media, look and see what they're posting about. Are they knowledgeable about the business, or are they just constantly taking memes that their mortgage broker gives them and reposting those, and that's it? Like, they don't do any other educational stuff on there. They don't do any explanation of anything. They don't show any referrals or testimonials or any of that type of stuff. Then maybe they're not that knowledgeable and they're newer. You can start to kind of get some indications of things like that. So I like to connect with them on social media just to get a feel for what's their personality like, how knowledgeable are they in the market, that type of thing. Call them and introduce yourself to them. If you see a few things on social media, there's a lot of social media groups for realtors only, like referral groups and groups on what kind of pop buys to do, and just what kind of gifts to do, and all this kind of stuff. Any of those gifts that you're in, pay attention. Like, look for the agents that are intelligent and helpful, and give advice and help other people and are kind, and all those kind of things, and kind of just make note of them. If you note that this Mary agent is always being so helpful and amazing to people, message her on Facebook and just be like, hey, Mary, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about your business. I'm always looking to build my referral network and would love to spend a few minutes just chatting with you. Can we connect sometime this week or next? And then set up a call and talk to her and ask her, what's your market like? How are your prices going? Or do you guys have great inventory? Just sort of build that rapport, exchange some information, and then put them in your sync. So now you have that agent in whatever city and state Mary's in. Okay. I also think that it's super important to just kind of use it to stay abreast of what's happening in other states. I mean, you want to know that. If your friend says to you, I'm moving to Tampa, and you just talk to that agent and she tells you, my last 3 houses couldn't get closed because the people couldn't get property insurance, then you might want to let your friend know that, like, okay, I can connect you with an agent who works in that area, but I just want to make you aware of something that's happening there right now. People are buying houses, but they're not able to get financing on them because they can't get insurance. Are you in a position to be able to pay all cash? So you can help educate them and help them, and so that you're constantly always being looked at as the expert in your field. So on realtor.com, I told you I'd show you where to do this. On realtor.com, you can go in and you obviously start. Stage 1 is realtor.com. Stage 2 is you just go to find realtors. Then you put in the city and state you're looking for somebody in. And then you'll have a little drop down box here at number 3, where you can choose whatever's important to you, right? If your Uncle Joe is listing his house then you might want somebody who has sold a lot of listings. You want a good listing agent that would be a potential person for your Uncle Joe. Okay. If your person is going there and they're buying, then you might want a good buyer's agent. So you can sort by whatever's important to you. And then that will give you a list of agents and it'll show you kind of a little bit about their background. Now I'll tell you, like in my world as an investor, a lot of this doesn't really matter because a lot of investors do stuff that's off market. A lot of times we just have to disclose that we are an agent. But if you're looking with normal buyer and seller type transactions, then this is a really great place to go and just kind of get that education. It's a good place to start. It's not the end all to be all, but if you see here, this person's really in Savannah, but then you're in a Facebook group and, you know, Mary is from Savannah and she's always bubbly and helpful to everybody, then definitely reach out to Mary as well. So like with most things in life, there's lots of different ways to go at it and they all work, right? So here's a little script kind of that I use when I'm calling people up. You might want to screenshot this. I'll give everybody a second to do that. It's really just nothing much. I'm just kind of introducing myself. I'll explain that I have either a family member or a friend or whatever looking to buy a home in their area. And I say the words, I'm looking for an exceptional agent to take care of them. Are you accepting referrals right now? And that's sort of, I mean, any agent that's been around for a bit understands that that means I'm looking for a referral fee. Okay. Now you're going to say it again later and you're going to say it more direct with that, but that at least gets the conversation started and gets them in. Yeah. You know, or they'll say, I'm actually not interested in paying any referral fees, but I'll take your referral. Okay. Well, nope. Actually, I have 2 other calls with other people, but thank you, you know. But again, then at this point, I would just sort of build some rapport with them. I'm not going to just say, okay, here's my mom's name. She's moving there. Here's her name and phone number. Give her a call. I want to find out, are they the right person to work with my Aunt Mary or my cousin Bob or whatever? How I want to know what the market is doing in there right now. I want to, again, as much for my own curiosity and wanting to stay educated and informed as it is to make sure this person has the right personality to spend the time with my Uncle Bob. Okay. I also just kind of want to be able to, probably the coach in me, I want to be able to prep my people that I'm referring to this agent on what to expect in that market. As an example, if they're going to Florida and the insurance issue is a concern right now, then I would want to prep my family or friend for that. You know, if they're going somewhere like Boise, Idaho, where the market's still super hot and they're getting multiple referrals and having to bid over price and all of those kind of things, then I would want to prepare.
You can go ahead and fill up.
Someone needs to mute. If they're going to Boise, Idaho, I would want to inform them, you know, hey,
yeah,
oh, Bob, that market is still really hot.
And yeah, we do need the non-use statement. Yeah, and then Dano does need.
There we go. That market is still really hot. I want you to understand that the inventory is really low, so you may not find a place right away. And there's probably going to be situations where you're going to be in multiple bidding situations and have to pay over list price. So are you familiar with how that works? And do you feel comfortable with that kind of thing? Or do you want me to walk you through some of that? So I want to educate the person, my family or friends that I care about, to kind of give them a little bit about that market and what they can expect. Obviously, it's the realtor's job to do the majority of it, but it's just before I hand them over, I want to make sure that they understand those things. Okay. I'm just going to build some rapport with them. I'm going to ask them some questions about, do they mostly work with buyers or sellers? In my case, I would mostly ask, you know, do you understand this about investing or that? You know, there's specific things when you have your niche, you'll know what things to ask. I'll ask if they work in specific area. Are they a part of a team or do they run a team? How responsive are they? How quickly did they get back to you? All those types of things just to kind of build rapport. But you're setting the stage for the fact that I'm going to be sending you this referral. I want to make sure they're well taken care of. Okay. Also make sure that you be aware and make sure that you are asking for things that are important for the client. So as I think I mentioned this before, if my girlfriend who has 3 school-age kids is moving, I know that schools are important to her. So I want to find an agent who understands schools, who knows the school areas, who knows where the good school areas in town are and all that. Somebody like myself, if you call me, like my kids have been out of school for a while, I don't really pay attention to that anymore. I mean, I know basic stuff that I hear, but I wouldn't say I'm a school expert. If somebody says, I want to be in the absolute best schools and these are the things I'm looking for, I know where to find them in research, but finding the right person who just knows that off the top of their head, because that's just something they do on a regular basis, is a much better fit. Okay. I will ask how many transactions someone has completed, but I don't use it. I don't care if they've done 100 or none. Obviously, I coach brand new agents, so I'm always looking for a way to get brand new agents an edge. But what I care about is how do they present it? If they're like, oh, well, gosh, I don't know, I haven't done any, but then to me, they don't seem very confident, and I'm not necessarily happy with their confidence level. So I'm not sure they're going to be able to take really good care of somebody, because are they going to be willing to negotiate to the hilt and get the best deal for my family or friends if they can't even negotiate and stand and be confident for themselves? So I'm really asking the question more for that type of thing. And then I'm also looking to see, are they super cocky? Because like, you know, is my family, or are they like, oh, I'm the #1 agent and blah, blah, blah. To me, that's a little cocky. And so are they going to, is that personality fit going to be the right person for the person I'm referring to them? And then I'll also ask if they have a specific niche, if they have a business philosophy, if they have any kind of systems, how do they stay in touch with people? Again, you're just trying to narrow it down. Come to Arizona, there's 12,000 agents. How do you pick one? You just call them up and they're friendly. So you go, oh, this is the person I want to put my friends with. No, you want to know a little bit more information and details. So you're narrowing it down just by asking some basic questions and things. And so then I'll usually say, hey, so I'm talking to a couple of agents in the area and I'm trying to get all this wrapped up today. I, of course, would be looking for a 25% referral fee. I assume you're good with that. And then usually they'll say, yeah, or, you know, sometimes they'll say, oh, well, the last one I paid 20% on, and then, okay, just typical negotiating, just shut up. Don't say anything. Just let them go, okay, well, but yeah, I'm good with 25%, you know? And then I'll say, well, I'm going to talk to the other agents. And then as soon as I figure it out and who's the best fit, I will send over a referral form for you. And once I get that signed, I'll introduce you guys in an email and connect you so that you guys can kind of take it from there. So that's the process that I use. Okay. I'll show you the forms here in just a minute. I do the referral form first with no information of my referral. Okay. I want to make sure they assign the form before I send them the person's name and phone number, right? What's to keep them from going around me and just calling the person direct. So I send the referral form first with the referral agreement, and then I send the contacts information afterwards. Okay. And I'll show you how that looks. So the referral fee agreement form, say that 4 times fast, is in Transaction Desk. This is what it looks like from the top half or top third. It basically starts out by saying the originating brokerage. Okay, so remember, like with all real estate stuff, everything happens. The brokerage is where this is happening, not me, Courtney, to you, Lisa. Okay, this is Bliss is referring this person to you. Okay, at Coldwell Banker in whatever in Florida. Okay, so the originating brokerage is me, Bliss. Okay. And then it asks who's the agent and the address and everything. So I fill all that in. Then the receiving broker is who you're sending this referral to. So let's say it's your Aunt Mary and she's buying a home in another state. Then you find this agent that you talk to and she's with Coldwell Banker and you love her and you want to refer the business to her. Then that's her information that's going to go in there. Okay. So Coldwell Banker's information is going to go in there and the agent information and everything. Then it says client information. You can see I have it grayed out and I say, do not give this until you get this document signed. Okay. So what I put in there is TBD. Okay. And then I put in parentheses something like to be sent upon signature received or something to that effect. Okay. And then a little farther down in the form, it asks you for a percentage. So you fill in either a flat fee or a percentage. So let's say they say, well, I'll give you, if all you're doing is sending me a name, I'll give you $500 and you agree to that. Okay. Then you can put in $500. If you say I want 25% and they agree to that, then you put 25% in there. There's a place for both the dollar amount and the percentage. So you fill all that in, and then down at the bottom, you will have signatures. Now, here's what's a little weird. You have to have your broker signature and their broker signature, and then you as an agent and them as an agent have to sign, okay? In the signature boxes on the bottom of this form, it's kind of backwards from most of the forms. If I remember correctly, I just filled one out this morning. I should know this, but I think it's like the originating broker is in the left. I'm in the top right. So we're both on the top right. So Lisa and me, and then the next line is their broker and them, or their agent and their broker. It's kind of backwards from usual. So just pay attention, like read it. Make sure you read the forms like with all the forms. Originating brokerage and broker would be, in this case, Lisa. Originating agent would be you, your name, okay? They're the receiving broker would be Coldwell Banker and their broker's name. And then the receiving agent would be the agent that you spoke to, okay? So that's how that process works. So you fill that out. And then what I typically will do is send them then an email. So I will send an email to the agent and I will CC my referral on that. And so I will say like, Aunt Mary, meet Mary at Coldwell Banker. Okay. Mary at Coldwell Banker, meet my Aunt Mary. And then I'll say, Aunt Mary, I found an agent that is absolutely adorable. She specializes in the area that you're working in. She's helped over 20 families this year find their dream home. I had a great conversation with her. She told me to make sure that you know ... And, I'll do a little bit of introduction. She was very responsive in returning my phone calls. And I think you'll have, a great transaction with her. And then I'll be like, Mary at Coldwell Banker, here's my Aunt Mary. I know we talked about this on the phone, but again, here's what she's looking for. And then I'll detail out, excuse me, how pricing, beds, baths, area, all that. Any schools are super important or whatever. Okay. So I detail all that out. So all of that is in one introduction email. And then I'll just say at the bottom, I'll put all their contact information for both. And then I'll just say at the bottom, I'll let you two take it from here. If you need anything from me, let me know. And then I let them kind of take it. Now, sometimes, actually probably half the time, every time they communicate back and forth to each other, they CC me on it because they're using the same email and they just keep responding. So after one or two, I'll usually just kind of say, I'll either email one or the other and just be like, hey, I don't need to be CC'd on everything. It's cool. You guys just go ahead and talk to each other. If you want to stay informed, you can. I don't usually necessarily need to, but they'll usually include you on that in that kind of situation. But that's how I kind of introduce them. If I have somebody that's not great with email, or I know they don't do email a lot, then I will also do that in a three-way call. So same concept. I'll, reach out to the agent first, find out when they can talk. If it's my Aunt Mary and she's 87, she gets on email once every 4 years, then I'll do it in a call. So I might check with the agent and find out, hey, can you talk tomorrow at 2? I'll check with my Aunt Mary. Can you talk tomorrow at 2? And then I'll do a three-way call and put them on together and introduce them, and then let them kind of communicate with one another that way and exchange information. So that way they can get connected. Okay. I'll take questions in just a minute. I saw a little hand up here. Once I do that and turn all of that over, then what I like to do is follow up during and after the transaction. So with the person that I referred, Aunt Mary, I'm going to ask her, like, was the agent responsive? Did they explain things well to you? Did you understand what they were talking about? Do you feel like they represented you well? Would you use them again or recommend them to others? And any other feedback? Because I want to know, do I want to keep this person in my sync database or not? Is this an agent I want to refer another transaction to in the future? With the agent, I'll check in periodically. Like, let's say today I sent that referral and I know that my Aunt Mary's moving there in October. Obviously, I'm not going to really do a whole lot between now and October, but if comes say middle of September, I might reach out to that agent and just say, hey, I know that the time that you're going to be working with my Aunt Mary is coming up. I hope you found some great houses for her. When I talked to her, she said you were doing great at sending her stuff. Just want to thank you so much for taking good care of her. Nothing urgent. And then when my aunt gets there and they're working together, maybe, I'm checking in to find out, hey, did you guys find a place yet? Are you under contract? How are things going? Then once it gets under contract, I'm asking, is it closing on time? Is everything going okay? Is there anything I can help with? I'm just being a helpful person. And then when it's all done, obviously I will thank them for taking care of my friend or family member. I make sure that they have the commission disbursement form before closing. So once I know that closing is happening on November 1st, as an example, sometime around the middle of October-ish, I'm probably going to fill out the commission disbursement form, which has to get signed by Lisa. I'm going to get that filled out so that they have wiring instructions for wiring the money to us. And then I'm going to send that over to the agent to just say, hey, here, this is a simple way. Here's the wiring instructions for the referral fee. If you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. And then I'm also going to kind of, once they get that transaction closed and they just put some money in their pocket, I'm going to have that in my calendar. If they're closing on November 1st, I want to be calling them November 1st or November 2nd while it's fresh in their mind and just say, hey, I'm glad the transaction went great. My Aunt Mary is thrilled. She loves her new house. I can't wait to come out and see it. By the way, if you know anyone that's ever moving to Arizona, I would love to, pay you a referral fee for recommending a client coming to this area. So it's kind of like a full transition or full circle kind of transaction. Okay. The thing that realtors always forget is to market to realtors. So in your sync, you should have a label marked realtor so that you're keeping track of all these people. As you're building a relationship with them and you're having these conversations with people, you're, referring business to them, you're seeing them in Facebook groups and seeing that they're kind and stuff, and you're having to build them up like your customer database. Have these people so that when you hear of somebody moving to Ohio, you can go into sync and be like, do I have a realtor in Ohio? Nope, not yet. Okay, now you have a specific target to go and try to find, right? I still send handwritten thank you notes to people after having conversations with them. I think it's a nice touch. Emails are getting annoying, and everybody uses it because it's easy. And so I want to stand out that I don't take the easy way. I'm not the agent that takes the easy way. I'm the one that does things above and beyond. Okay. Make sure you're sending them your newsletter, your postcards. When I send a postcard mailing out, like a general one, all my realtors are on my database, get those as well. So add them to your sync so that they're getting your automated campaigns. If you're sending out the holiday campaigns, and you should be, if you're not, make sure you do that. If you're sending those out in sync to everybody that's in your sync database, then they should be getting your happy Halloween notices and they should be getting your happy Thanksgiving notices and all that. They're probably just going to delete them. But if they ever need an agent in Arizona, who are they going to think of? Because you've been in their inbox every 12 months or every month, right? Treat them as you would a buyer or seller prospect when it comes to marketing. I do think that you have to call them quarterly at least, or maybe every 4 months instead of every 3 months. But I personally think it's almost impossible to build rapport and a relationship with somebody enough to where I would trust them at that level through email and that kind of thing. I think you can do some things, but I do think it's important to call, even if your call is just leaving a message, which is, I would say, probably 95% of mine. I'm just leaving a message and I'll usually say, hey, Mary, I don't need you to call me back. It's Cortney Jones with Bliss Realty and Investments in Arizona. I just wanted to reach out, see how you're doing. I would love to catch up if you have some time, but I get that you're totally busy. Just wanted to get in your inbox and say hi and let you know I was thinking of you. And again, I so much appreciate the work that you did for my aunt. Okay, so I'm just leaving a message like that so that, again, I'm front and center in her thoughts when she has somebody that's moving to Arizona. Okay. And then obviously you want to connect with them all on social media, comment on their posts. Don't just like everything. You just look like everybody else that's just clicking. Okay. Actually make some intelligent conversation, make some intelligent comments. You want them to notice you. If 20 people like their post and you comment something intelligent on that, then you're going to get noticed. They may not remember it immediately, but the 5th, 6th, 7th time, and with the phone calls and with the postcards, now you're automatically going to be the agent that they think of when they have somebody coming to Arizona. Okay. Realtor.com and moving companies, just as a side note, this popped into my head when I was all done with my presentation, just for your information. Realtor.com and moving companies like Atlas, U-Haul, what's the other, Penske, they all track migration patterns. So if you want to make this part of your business a niche that you're interested in, you can go onto those websites and they have public data that'll show you what are the 5 states that most people move here from, what parts of those states. They have it down to like little heat maps where you can see exactly what part. So I know a lot of realtors across the country who will market to specific parts of, say, Chicago, because there's a lot of people from Chicago that move to Arizona. And so when you're in Chicago visiting, you'll see Arizona realtor ads. So there's things like that that you can do, and you can get that information on realtor.com and through the moving companies. So just an FYI, if that's something that you're interested in. You could also look at the reverse. Where are people, if anybody leaves Arizona, where are they likely to go? And that would be a good area for you to say, okay, well, I know a lot of people in Arizona. I have a big database here. If a lot of people from here are moving to Colorado, then I'm going to start building up some referral people in Colorado. So when I hear of somebody from here moving to Colorado, I have agents I can refer them to. Okay, so you can use it for both ways, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's all I have, but I do have time built in to answer your questions. So who's got questions? I see one in the chat. Let me do that one first. Yeah, we have a referral form in Sweet Assist too. It's easy. I feel like it's easier. The one in Transaction Desk is easier because it's already in there. So it's super easy to just add the signature boxes rather than going into Sweet Assist and doing it. But y'all do your thing. Do it however you like. Any other questions?
I have a question. As far as how long, I actually have a Minnesota realtor I've been working with for quite a few years. And how long do you actually, like this, maybe she referred a client to me 3 years ago. Do I still, they are renting now and say they buy in 3 years. Do you still pay the referral fee, or how do you handle that?
So she referred you somebody 3 years ago, but they're renting, they haven't been ready to buy, and you're asking, should you still pay a referral fee?
Yes,
Okay.
I actually do, but it's because I have a good rapport with this agent.
So my feeling is sort of like the golden rule. I treat people the way I would want to be treated. And so to me, if I referred that to you 3 years ago, you've been nurturing them for 3 years, and you wouldn't know their name and phone number and email if I hadn't given it to you. And so I feel like I would still pay that, because I wouldn't have that and know to be nurturing them and staying in touch with them if it wasn't for that person. When you fill out the referral agreement, there is a place where it asks you to decide how long that is. And so you have to kind of, when you're giving referrals and receiving, in this case, Carol, you have to kind of decide that, and you really should fill it in the blanks. You know, like a lot of agents, people leave a lot of things incomplete. But that she should have specified this is good for 1 year or 3 years, or I always put until closing, so then it's, until they buy a house from you, and you close on it. But
I like that. Thank you. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, if it's a specific like in my world for investment properties, it's often a specific property. So I will put like until 123 Elm Street closes, or at close of escrow. But so you can be vague like that. But if it's an open-ended where it's just, hey, I'm referring this person to you and you're nurturing them, I feel like you still owe her a commission,
Okay, good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? All right.
I think this was good, Courtney. I appreciate it. Everyone's quiet, and it's a great time to have this class because the snowbirds are already starting to come back. So
really great class. Thank you, Courtney. Great
agents
material too.
Yeah, I'm like, Google agents in other states, Google the small brokerages, send emails and text, introduce yourself. The minute they say that they'll pay a referral fee or they'll work with you, add them to your database. So,
and that's a good point that Mara just brought up. I didn't include this, but most of your bigger companies, like your Coldwell Bankers and your Remax and stuff, they do have kind of rules and regulations about referring within their company. So when you're looking for places, you're going to want to look for like off-brand names like Bliss Realty, like something that's not your big national firms, because that otherwise, if you call a Remax agent, you can refer to them and you'll get paid, but you're probably not going to get business back from them because they're gonna refer it to another Remax agent. I'm not going to say it never ever happens, but it's going to be rare. Okay. So look for those small companies to kind of support and help. When I traveled, I was gone for 3.5 weeks and we were on the road. We're a little geeky. My husband and I go to Staples for hot dates and walk around Staples, but we stop and visit real estate companies all the time. And I'll always go in and ask what kind of investment properties they have, and I'll meet agents, but I'm always looking for kind of those smaller boutique firms.
So just to make sure I understood, I have a friend that works for Coldwell Banker. So if I would talk to her and refer her, or she refers to me, then it might be a problem there, or?
It depends. Like some of the bigger companies like Coldwell Banker will have rules that they have to refer to another Coldwell Banker agent. It depends on her contract. Obviously, everybody has different contracts. If she's been around for 30 years, then her contract's going to be different than the agent that just came in a year ago. So she needs to be aware of what her broker's rules and regulations are for that, and she needs to follow those.
Okay, so I need to have that conversation before even referring her on. Okay, thank you.
Oh yeah, 100%. I would, you don't want to just start sending her referrals if it's not going to be reciprocated. Like that's any business partner, we tend to probably get more referrals coming to Arizona than going out, right? But you don't want to send business to people that aren't going to give business back to you. So, I have agents that I populate into my automated newsletters. They're in my Facebook groups or my Facebook page. Like I've connected with them so that they can see my real estate posts. They can see I'm active. And that way, when they do have a client, they're like, oh, yeah, Mara's there. You treat them just like a client, because when they do have a buyer or seller, you want them to refer to you. And you know what? Cortney said the 25%. Dude, I freaking ante that up. Why not offer 30? Why not offer 35%? Because when you start to figure out the dollar amount, it's really small. So the higher percentage sounds great. The bigger picture is you're getting that client. You're getting a lifetime client. You're going to do a good job. And then that client's going to refer to you. So that's the bigger picture, right? So if you can build up, I have referrals coming from Washington, from Montana, from Chicago. So when you start to pull, and that's why we have business pages, because you can do your analytics and see who's watching your Facebook pages, your Instagram, your websites, and you can monitor, and then you can target and go pull agents from those states if you really wanted to, or if you have connections. I see William and Mike on here, so they have connections. And even if you don't, I mean, you guys, how many of you sit on your couch every day in front of the TV? So just sit and Google other realtors. I mean, block an hour. Yeah, I see you guys. Block an hour out of your schedule and just shoot emails off. Copy and paste, do the BCC. It's like Cortney. You start getting referrals coming in, and then now you're helping with relocation. You're helping. Okay. It took you.
Well, and it's like everyone in my family knows. I mean, I've been doing real estate for 33 years. If anyone in my family does anything real estate wise, they're calling me. It doesn't matter if they're in Massachusetts, which is where most of my family is, or in California or whatever. They're calling me and going, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. Does this sound reasonable? Like I am the family expert on real estate. And so I can help them in any state. And if I don't have a connection in there, it's super easy to find it. But that's what you kind of want to be known as with your sphere of influence and your family.
Yeah. And I see that we put out, hey, does anyone have an agent here? No, man. Freaking Google someone. I'll Google Texas small boutiques. I'll look and see who I like. I sit and call them up. Hey, I've got a referral for you. What do you like? Are you busy? Do you want a referral? How do you work? Do you have time? It's your business. You don't want to work with another agent that's referring business to somebody else. Get that connection, you know? Or you can say, hey, I am going to be having a referral. The agent doesn't know. Leads come and go.
I've
So,
had calls though where it's actually your marketing firms trying to give you the leads though too.
no,
So,
that's
so if
that's
they're a
bunch
little
of spam.
hesitant, maybe that might be why.
Yeah. Well, but
There is a
that's
new
why
sales
it's coming
coach out
from
there.
you.
That's
Yeah.
totally the way that I got caught on
Yeah.
it a couple months ago. And next thing you know, I'm like in a 20-minute long conversation. And then I
Yeah.
realized the guy's turning this into a sales pitch. And I'm like, dude, I
Yeah.
have plenty of referrals. Thank you.
Hang up, hang up, hang up.
Yeah.
That's why I send the emails. I don't call. A busy agent will not answer the phone. I only answer my phone for you guys. Do you not get that? I screen my calls and I get hit with spam, spam, spam. But all day long, I'll read my emails and then I respond to clients. And busy agents, same way. You guys have to start thinking that way. So you can't sit and call all these people. No one's going to answer their phones. But you can sit and send out an email, put your picture in it if you want. I mean, whatever. Don't make it all this fancy. Just shoot an email out. Hey, we're coming upon snowbird season. If you have any clients looking to buy or sell in Arizona, I'd love to pay a referral and take care of your clients. You know, most agents don't get asked that. So when an agent finds out their client ended up buying in Arizona, they're like, well, crap, I just lost a commission. And then they find out their client worked with a horrible agent. So every agent wants to build that relationship because they want to make money and they want to help out their clients. So.
All right, well, thank you guys. I appreciate you
Yeah.
all being here.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Courtney. I like Court.
my pleasure. Everybody
Yeah,
calls me
Courtney.
It's all good. If I can help anybody, let me know.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
That's
Bye, everyone.
Good info.